Now, I have to be careful not to turn every homily into a film review. So let's just say that since I saw the film The Two Popes on Monday, I have been thinking a lot about St. Peter and the papacy and the role of the Catholic Church then and now. And here we are, by coincidence, in St. Matthew's Gospel today, at the very beginning of this story. St. Peter is with his brother Andrew. They are fishing on the Lake of Galilee, near the village of Capernaum. Jesus is walking by, and at the very moment when they are casting their nets into the water, he calls them, "Come, follow me, and I will make you into fishers of men." I hope you can identify with Peter and Andrew here. You are getting on with your lives, your studies for most of you, your work, your friendships, and Jesus is calling out to you. Maybe there is some excitement, a sense of privilege. Wow, he's calling me. He's really calling me. Or maybe it's a bit annoying. He's interrupting your tidy plans. You have things to do. You have just cast your net into the water and you're focusing on the fish, but he wants your attention. He's asking you to let go and follow him. I don't know what this means for each one of you today. Jesus calls us in so many different ways for different reasons. I just say to all of you, are you listening? Are you listening? Can you hear his voice through all the noise? Do you believe that he is speaking to you? That he really cares for you? Perhaps you think this is just for the saints, or for all those elderly people who go to church because you suspect they have nothing better to do. What difference would it make if you really believed that the Lord loves you personally, that you are precious to him, that he delights in you, and that he's calling out to you? I really hope that this week ahead will help you to hear him better, because we start our annual week of guided prayer this evening. 55 of you, 55 students, have signed up to participate. We are full. But the week is for all of us in the chaplaincy, and not just those who are meeting a prayer guide. After Mass, we'll give you a short booklet about prayer just to encourage and prod you. Please do take it home and dip into it. The chapel is open all day from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. for personal prayer. We have Mass and confessions and Rosary and the Marian Novena and lots else as usual. And also we have a set of workshops, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday evenings, that are open to everyone, absolutely everyone, from our chaplaincy. And all of our other chaplaincy activities are cancelled for the week, so there can be an atmosphere of silence and prayer around the house. It's going to be a really, really important and beautiful week, I think, for all of us. So, in many ways, we can identify with Peter and Andrew. We are disciples like them, and like them, we are trying to listen to Jesus more attentively and follow him. Okay. But when Jesus speaks to Peter and Andrew and James and John, he's not just calling disciples. He's also forming his first apostles. It's not a vocation that is given to everyone. The 12 apostles will lead the community of the church with St. Peter as their head. Jesus will give them authority to preach and to heal. He will give them a set of religious and moral teachings to share with others. He will entrust them with the sacraments so that Christians can worship God and grow in holiness. And after his resurrection, he will send them out on a mission to the ends of the earth to make disciples of all the nations. It raises the question, where can I find this apostolic faith and this apostolic church today? The diversity of Christian life today is amazing. You can go to a tiny chapel in the Arctic Circle that belongs to the Church of Norway, or a Pentecostal megachurch in Nigeria that seats 1 million worshippers at one time. I am not exaggerating. 1 million seats. You can join communities that claim an unbroken continuity with the churches of the apostles back to St. Peter and Andrew on the Lake of Galilee. Or you can find a church that was started a few months ago in your neighbour's garage with nothing more than a Bible and a prayer to the Holy Spirit. There are literally thousands upon thousands of different denominations and church organisations with different teachings and traditions, and some of them even with different Bibles. As Catholics, how to make sense of this? Well, we believe that the Catholic Church has a special place in God's plan of salvation. The Catholic Church, guided by the Holy Spirit, hands on the apostolic faith in its fullness and preserves the unity of the Church through history. It's not just one denomination among many. It's the place where you can find the reality of the Church in all its fullness. This is a big claim, isn't it? Why should you believe it? It's to go back to the Scriptures first of all. In the Gospel of St. Matthew, Jesus says to Peter, "You are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it." Jesus sends out his apostles to teach and to baptize and to make disciples of all nations. And he wants this apostolic ministry to be handed on to the next generation of Christian leaders in a process that's called apostolic succession. Apostolic succession. We believe as Catholics that the Catholic bishops today are the successors of the apostles, and that the Pope, the Bishop of Rome, is the successor of St. Peter. The unity of the bishops around the Pope guarantees the unity of the Church. There is an unbroken continuity through history with the community that Jesus gathered around him 2,000 years ago, and with the Jewish people to whom he belonged. There is a continuity of faith, of teaching, of sacramental worship, of love for the Bible, of apostolic ministry, passed down from one generation to the next. Now you might be thinking, but I can base my faith on the Bible. But it's not so easy, because Christian communities cannot agree on how to interpret the Bible, and they can't even agree on which books should be included in the Bible. We need the authority of the Catholic Church, guided by the Holy Spirit, to help us identify the books of the Bible, and then to help us understand them correctly. Now, the Catholic Church is not without its problems. Let's not be naive. And it certainly does not have a monopoly on Christian faith. There are so many amazing Christian communities out there, and so many amazing Christians that belong to them. I have learnt so much from friends who are Orthodox, Anglican, Baptist, Lutheran, Free Church, Evangelical, and much else besides. We are united in so many ways. Above all, through our faith in Jesus Christ and through our common baptism. We work and pray together, and I hope that we will go to heaven together. But to belong to the Catholic Church gives you the guarantee that you are part of the fullness of faith that Jesus gave to his apostles. Despite all the external changes over the centuries, the fundamentals of Christian life and teaching have remained the same in the Catholic Church. The faith that Jesus gave to St. Peter and the other apostles has been handed on from one generation to the next. I had to work all this out for myself as a teenager. As many of you know, I was baptised in the Church of England. But growing up, really, I had no faith and I was living a completely secular life. But when I was 16, 17, I began to believe in Jesus, not to tell the whole story now. But I came to know him and to pray to him, and I was searching for a spiritual home. I could see that there were thousands of different Christian denominations. It was very confusing. And I was afraid of just choosing a church that reflected my own preferences, as if I were walking round a religious supermarket deciding which denomination to put into my shopping trolley. This is what Cardinal John Henry Newman called the error of private judgment. When you make a religious choice that seems so true and obvious, but in fact is just reinforcing your own personal opinions and prejudices. So I tried to be objective. Where is the church, I asked myself, that goes back through history to the one that Jesus founded? Where is the church that has handed on the sacraments and the apostolic faith in an unbroken tradition from one generation to the next? Where can I find the successors of the apostles and the successor of St. Peter? These questions eventually led me, like Cardinal Newman, into the Catholic Church. It might sound a bit simplistic, but I'd still make the same decision all these years later. I have no less love or admiration for the Christians I know in other communities, but my appreciation for the importance of the Catholic Church has grown more and more. So I'm on the shore of the Lake of Galilee in the Gospel passage today. I'm trying to listen to Jesus as Peter did, but I'm also trying to listen to Peter and to the Catholic Church to help me better understand what Jesus is saying to me.